Hey, it's the homie Fast Coop, and I'm gonna need you to like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Listen, we're gonna break this down. I'm really gonna explain to y'all why the game won the battle against 50 Cent. You feel me? Now, if we go back, especially to my youngsters, we gonna go back. You dig what I'm saying? Now, if you don't know, Eminem is responsible for bringing 50 Cent to Interscope, um, and I believe it was like a 50-50 split deal with Dr. Dre. Shady Aftermath, I believe, yeah. So Eminem brought, 50 Cent to Interscope through Shady Aftermath. Now, Dr. Dre wanted an artist to bring as well for the West Coast. See what I'm saying? Because the West Coast, kind of, was on the decline. So he was trying to bring it back. So Dr. Dre pretty much ended up hearing a demo tape, you feel me, from a couple artists, and one stuck out to him. It was an artist named The Game. Now, Dr. Dre pretty much got behind him and said, "Yo, we gonna work." But the problem was that The Game could rap his ass off, but he couldn't come up with hooks. He wasn't a hook maker. Feel me? So they had to come up with a strategy. So with all that going on, Game was trying different things, trying to get himself out there, trying different avenues of marketing. He even did a record with Jim Jones called Certified Gangsters. You feel me? But that didn't do really too good. But that actually helped the East Coast see the game. That was the first time I ever seen the game. I'm gonna be completely honest. Before he even did anything with 50 Cent, right? So they came up with a strategy of 50 Cent writing hooks for the game because 50 Cent, he's a hook maker. You know what I mean? Like that's 50 Cent's strong suit. He wasn't really a bar for bar rapper. Like, yeah, he could go at you, but he was more so great in his side of the country and just in the world period due to the fact of his hook ability, you know what I'm saying? His melodies and how he could switch it up. Like a lot of niggas in New York couldn't do what he could do. So with that recipe, you got games, pretty much being able to deliver in terms of verses. And with a hook maker, it was like bound for glory. You know what I mean? So that's where you have the development of, this is how we do. Feel me? Then after that, you have hated to love it. Now, in between all of that, um, the game ended up getting real big headed. He got real big headed, you know what I'm saying? He was jumping on records, pretty much saying that he was 3 times platinum before he even sold the album. So he ended up developing a big sense of, success before it even happened. Now you can speak things into the universe, that's fine. But when you have someone around like 50 Cent, you gotta respect the 48 laws of power. Never outshine the master. Now, when you have big egos like 50 Cent in a game, especially 50 Cent, and then you come in the way the game is, bound for heads to clash. So that's pretty much what happened. Now, moving forward, right? The game is doing, big headed stuff. He's starting to diss Jay Z. He's talking disrespectful to DJs in the Carolinas. And the Carolinas is one of the main hubs for artists to go through. So he's about to get blackballed out of the Carolinas. And 50 Cent was like, nah, we're not gonna have that because we gotta make sure G Unit artists prosper wherever we go. You know what I'm saying? So 50 Cent was kind of cleaning up, games, dirty laundry. You see what I'm saying? So in the midst of that, 50 Cent still had his issues going on. So he had issues with Fat Joe, Ja Rule, Jadakiss, etc. And when the game would get interviewed, there was one particular interview that they ended up asking him how he feels about Fat Joe and Jadakiss. And mind you, the game knows everything that's going on. Like, you know what I mean? And 50 Cent's cleaning up everything. He ends up responding like, "Oh, I got no problem with them. They good dudes." So when 50 Cent sat back and thought about it, he's like, "Nigga, I just wrote your first 2 hits, bro. I got you in the game already. You know what I mean? Like, I just helped you out, and you gonna pretty much, say I'm not in it. You feel me? When G Unit, it's kind of protocol. Like, you know what I'm saying? At the end of the day, you part of the brand. So it's like for you to just kind of step out of it, like the way that Game did, it kind of was uncalled for. You know what I mean? But in his defense, he ain't from New York. You know what I mean? Like he ain't signed up for that. He just came to rap. You feel me? But 50 Cent, in his defense, he's cleaning up your dirty laundry. So pretty much I see both perspectives, but I'm gonna lean towards 50 on that one as a real nigga. Now, This is when, the issue started happening. And eventually, you feel me? They ended up shooting a Hated Lover video, right? And 50 Cent was just so upset with the game. If you watch the video, 50 Cent would not sit side by side in the car when Game's driving the car. He ended up sitting behind him in the car. You feel me? And everyone knew. You feel me? At that point, like it was all set. So after that was done, you feel me? The documentary came out. 50 Cent had to start promoting the Massacre, his second studio album. So he's going on press runs. Now they're asking because they're hearing word through the grapevine. Oh yeah, I heard you got issues with Game. What's going on? So 50's pretty much like, yeah, Game ain't part of G Unit. He from across the street, across the block. He ain't down with the camp no more. You feel me? So with that being said, that was at Hot 97, excuse me, in New York. So mind you, the documentary just dropped. So both of them are moving at the same time. Game so happens to be doing an interview with Angie Martinez at the same time that this is happening. So someone from Queens, because niggas in Queens hate 50 Cent, they call, because back then they used to call to the radio all the time. They call the radio like, yo, you know what I mean? The suck ass nigga 50 just said you ain't down with G Unit no more. And Game's like, what? Word? And then he ends up breaking it down, and Game's like, wow. And he's like, you know what? I ain't even gonna respond to that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just gonna keep balling. I'm gonna keep doing me, and I'm gonna get so hot that I cross over. You feel me? And the nigga on the phone was like, yeah, do your thing, man. Don't crush him. Don't hurt him, man. You know that nigga's a sucker. So after that, Game ends up leaving Angie Martinez, and he jumps in the car, listens to the radio, and he's with the homies. Pushes up on 50 Cent at Hot 97. You feel me? Hot 97 ends up finding out that Game's outside, and they tell 50 Cent. Now, this is where I started looking at 50 a little shaky, because if you know, Hot 97 is in New York. Game is from Compton. You feel me? He's from the West Coast. Game pulls up on you, right? You decide to run out the back of the radio station. Now, I get it. It's business and shit like that. But at the end of the day, y'all niggas supposed to be gangster, and y'all in y'all hometown. So moving forward from there, right? Game pulls up. These 50 Cent's entourage ends up running out, and a shootout happens. Now, one of Game's associates ends up getting grazed in the leg. You feel me? So boom. Now we got tension. You see what I'm saying? Boom. Now the diss tracks start coming together. Boom. It got so bad, they started to think that this was going to be the next Tupac versus Biggie beef. You feel me? So it started getting away the money. So they had to they decided to, come together in terms of the business. Someone got in their ears and say, yo, y'all should just squash it for the media. So they end up linking up. They go to do some donation in Harlem for like a after school program or something like that. 50 donates 150,000. Game donates 103,000, 3,500, excuse me. They squash it. But they had these pictures that are just, you could just tell that they was not on the same page, bro. Like, they did not want to do whatever the media wanted them to do. You feel me? Like, you could just see in their face that they wasn't really cool. So after that, the Game does Summer Jam. And when he goes on to Summer Jam on the stage, he ends up taking the G Unit chain, throws it in the crowd. You feel me? Then they had a mascot who was dressed up as a rat. They beat up the mascot on the stage and said that was 50 Cent and that was Tony Yayo. You feel me? Then after that, you feel me? He just goes on stage and he said, fuck Lloyd Banks, fuck Yayo, fuck 50, you feel me? He said, fuck Young Buck. He said all of that. So moving forward from there, that's when it really started going. So Game starts going on a whole campaign. He even ends up pulling up the 50's crib. If y'all don't know, Game dropped a record called 300 Bars and Running. Song is 15 minutes long. He dissed the whole G Unit. You feel me? Like the whole G Unit. That's the thing with Game. It wasn't like he was just dissing 50 Cent. Like, he's going at a bunch of artists at the same time. Just like 50 Cent was, the Game was, doing the same thing. Now, there's a common individual between the two. Game's manager is Jimmy Henchman. Jimmy Henchman is from Queens. He pretty much was a drug dealer who got into the music industry. Now, Jimmy Henchman knows the Supreme Team. The Supreme Team was a legendary drug dealer crew out of Jamaica, Queens, where 50 Cent is from, and they had tension. You know what I mean? With 50 Cent. You feel me? 50 Cent was like a little younger. So they was beefing, and 50 knows this. So Jimmy Henchman always was in the game's ear, pretty much telling the game, like, yo, listen, you could be bigger than him. You know what I mean? Like, you're not like Banks, you're not like Yayo. Like, you got the potential to be even bigger than 50 Cent, if not just as big. So the game always had that in his mind. You feel me? Like, he always was ready and equipped to beef with 50 Cent. So with all of that, they going back and forth, but 50 Cent was too busy to really be consistent in terms of diss records. You know what I mean? It just was like interviews and stuff like that. Games dropping back to back. He's making a name off dissing them. He came out with the infamous G Unit campaign that actually was very critical to the G Unit brand because it was catchy. Now, G Unit was selling sneakers, headbands, jerseys. They had a whole clothing line, and Game pretty much made it to the point that it was no longer fashionable. You know what I mean? Like, he went so hard that it was no longer fashionable to wear. You feel me? Like, and it got crazy. You know what I mean? So he pretty much influenced people to perceive G Unit as like outdated. Now, Lloyd Banks though decided to kind of take this beef on his back. You feel me? And it kind of turned into the Game versus Lloyd Banks more so than the Game versus 50 Cent, because 50 Cent was kind of moving around, doing a lot. But at the same time, he should have been handling his business. But as a boss, I get it. But you can't really, duck the smoke because that's how you got into the game. You feel me? So that's kind of karma for the way you got in. Like, you kind of attracted the energy that you put out. You was beefing with niggas, and now niggas is beefing with you. But now you're too busy to beef. So you kind of look like the hypocrite in that situation. You should be on top of the beef and show everybody you're not to be played with in any degree, whether you're successful or you trying to climb the ladder. Now, moving forward from there, 50 Cent ends up, you know what I mean? Ends up coming back at the game with one record. I think it's called Stop Lying. No, I'm not rich. I'm still lying. And he pretty much comes at the game. Now, that record was smooth. Trust me, that was smooth, but it just wasn't enough, right? And you got Lloyd Banks going to Rap City doing freestyles and all that. Eventually, the next real situation that happened besides on Wax, Tony Yayo ends up outside of Cesar building. Now, Cesar building was a management building of Jimmy Henchman's that I just, told y'all about. And he seen Jimmy Henchman's son outside, you know what I mean, wearing a Cesar shirt. So Tony Yayo's with a dude named Lodi Mack. Now, Tony Yayo and Lodi Mack end up approaching Jimmy Henchman's son, and Tony Yayo is rumored to smack Jimmy Henchman's son, and Lodi Mack is rumored to have pulled out a weapon on, Jimmy Henchman's son. Now, Jimmy Henchman's son ran up in the building and told Jimmy Henchman. Now, Jimmy Henchman was a real get money dude out there with the Supreme Team. Like, he was getting real money. He's known for selling bricks. So Jimmy Henchman put up money to get Tony Yayo out the way and to get Lodi Mack out the way. Now, Lodi Mack, in between that, Lodi Mack ended up going to jail because I guess someone pressed charges on Lodi Mack and Tony Yayo. Tony Yayo ended up having to do like community service, and like he took a plea, and then Lodi Mack had to do 2 years. And in that 2 years, someone befriended Lodi Mack in jail, in prison, excuse me. And when Lodi Mack got out, Jimmy Henchman took that money that was for, MOH and gave it to the friend, and the friend took care of, Lodi Mack. So Lodi Mack ended up getting deleted. If you don't know what deleted means, it means, you know what I mean? So this is why I keep saying the Game won the battle. The Game won the battle because he got somebody deleted in terms of his association. 50 Cent didn't get nobody in Game's entourage deleted, like a little Grays or whatever the case is. And then on top of that, the Game's dissing everybody. Even worse than that, Game has actually pulled up on Lloyd Banks. They took a picture together. You feel me? Game pulled up on Young Buck when Young Buck was out in LA. He did a show whatever the case is, and security grabbed up Game when Game was trying to go holler at Young Buck to see what type of time he was on. You know what I mean? And then 50 Cent goes out to LA. You know, he's doing his thing with the liquor and stuff like that. Game pulls up on 50 Cent. Mind you, this is years going through. This is not like back to back. Like they was beefing for 11, 12 years on and off. And in between that, Game was being bipolar. He was being bipolar. Like, I'm not gonna lie to you. He was saying, oh man, like, yo, 50 G Unit, we need to come back. And then Lloyd Banks would be like, this nigga's a weirdo. He bipolar. You feel what I'm trying to say? And then he pretty much was telling Game to delete himself because you know he's a bipolar individual. Now, when it came to the war, 50 Cent won. 50 Cent made more money. You feel me? More successful, sold more albums. He's a bigger star. You know what I mean? But the Game didn't do bad because even though he removed himself from G Unit, he's the second most famous or successful G Unit member. Lloyd Banks' catalog, nah, you know what I mean? Rotten Apple was good. The Hunger for More was good. But overall, like career wise, Game had a better career than Lloyd Banks. You know what I mean? Like Lloyd Banks kind of got into the kind of just stuck at the ground level, and then Game was still putting out studio albums. You feel me? Like the documentary 2, LAX, the Red album, Red Jesus. You know what I mean? Like he kept putting studio albums out. You feel me? Like to this day, Game has more star power than Lloyd Banks. Like if Game walks in the room, he's gonna turn more heads than Lloyd Banks. Facts. You feel me? Lloyd Banks is gonna get the respect. You feel me? But he's gonna turn more heads than Lloyd Banks. Tony Yayo, he not really a rapper. Like, you know what I mean? Tony Yayo's good. He's just a street nigga. You feel me? Like, and then after that, Young Buck ends up getting into it with 50 Cent. And then the Game and Young Buck do a record dissing 50 Cent. So that's what I'm trying to say. Like, and in that record, the Game pretty much was saying Lloyd Banks is gonna leave 50 Cent. And Lloyd Banks ends up leaving 50 Cent. You see what I'm saying? So overall, 50 Cent won the war, but a lot of people left 50 Cent's side. You feel me? And there's a price that you pay as a boss. You feel me? So the reason why the Game won the battle because he put out way more disses. Nobody on his camp was a casualty. You feel me? And he was pulling up on everybody in G Unit. And 50 Cent had to get Spider Loc to deal with him on the West Coast. You feel me? Spider Loc a Crip. Game has association with Bloods. And, you know, it was rumored that Game's not really a Blood. But at the end of the day, he could say that. As long as they give him the pass, he could say that. Feel me? So that's what it is. Y'all let me know what y'all think. You feel me? And I just broke that down to you. You feel me? Drop them comments. Game took that home for the battle. 50 Cent won a war. Feel me? And Game's the only one who actually, you know, beat 50 Cent in the battle. He's the only one. Feel me? Like, share, and subscribe to the channel. The Crib.